at someone like you taking an initiative and creating a company which actually has this enabling environment. So is that, what do you think? Does it contribute to greater segregation? Or right now that's the only solution?
So we just going to actually change that model because we are realizing that it is going to cause greater segregation and therefore very comfortable. So we don't have a model where the entire value chain has to be understood and matched by different disability. And we have many people also. And I know that we are a courier company and we are logistics. And we need a heavy shipment, say a Flipkart, heavy shipment that needs to be delivered, we need a vehicle. But that person can't drive, retailing doing that. So we need to have an able model. So as for future for us is going to be an inclusive model because a model where only disabled people work will also not work financially and commercially. Socially is a separate topic altogether. So that's the challenge we were.
No, but anyway we promote inclusion.
Promote exactly.
We are always for inclusion. It is never, in fact, then it will become more segregated.
Again, for inclusion, you require so much of counseling to these children.
Exactly, because उसका salary बहुत ज़्यादा है, वो सुबह 8 बजे आता है, मेरे को आप 9 बजे बुलाते हो, so they don't understand that businesses work very differently.
And it's not just inclusion when you're talking about only the disabled, but even the normal children who are there with them. You need to also counsel them and talk to them about how to go about it.
Just 1 minute. I'd like to introduce you all to Mr. Abhinav Jaiswal, named the Deputy Secretary of Social Justice. You are not aware actually he's just come this city of So Mr. Naresh has been doing the moderating.
I'm Dr. Sangeeta Dasgupta. I'm a co-founder in healthcare company. We are in the business of healthcare services. The company name is Arogya Online Healthcare and Information Services. Our primary business is working on digitizing of health records and tracking health records of the patients across. It's a very patient-centric model that we are working upon. And the new thing that we'll be taking up is specifically home care for disabilities and senior citizens. That's why I'm a part of this session.
Thank you. Just to very quickly sum up what we have discussed, we were looking at various types of disability and what are the issues that have been faced. And a couple of things which have come up so far is the whole issue of access, which a couple of groups are working on. Access for physically challenged, but also trying to see how that can be expanded so that other disability also can be covered in that. We are talking about the whole need for sensitization, for counseling happening, communication being a huge aspect in that. And we're just getting onto this whole issue of livelihoods and how do you create that capacity and how do you create a workspace where they're treated as anybody else rather than soul segregation. So that's the point we are at right now. And researchers like Pramona, I think that characterizes us as your experience is not your perspective. Is there anybody else who would like to add a conversation, something that's come up for you in these 2 or 3 areas?
There is one thing that I can add on. I was mentioning about the HTBC boards, the vision you get. We've trained around 136 associates, students, out of which 106 have been placed in various organizations. Standard Chartered, HCL, Dow, we've got 24 in TCS as well. But the kind of experience that we got from their supervisors is that they are excellent workers. It is just that we need to promote those students or those employees in a way that being visible, they are so much effective. Their attrition rate is very low. They are very specific in what they do. In fact, they are better performers than what we have. It's the other way. So I think it also depends on the kind of work culture that they are into, and also depends on how their supervisor is promoting them. So I think in a low profile, I think there are people who will want to create I comment like what I come at this particular time, my salary is what it is only a category of work that you do, or maybe in a profile which is very good. The software companies, I don't think so that is the case. What my experience is.
Probably we are talking about people who are reached a certain education strata. There the problems are much less. But like in hearing impaired, a child who is 10th pass, you will not believe, cannot recognize that apple is, say it is called apple or whatever. They do not differentiate between carrot. Again, it's very handheld opportunity which government gives them. They're not supposed to be. They're supposed to pass every, irrespective of whether they've gained any knowledge or not. So it becomes a very, very difficult at that point of time. A child who says, "But I am 10th class."
But I just want to add to that, to teach such children, the normal methods of teaching, the teaching modules also have to be made a little bit as made more visual, made more interactive, made more those kind of
Not required through sci-fi. Not required. My personal experience, my brother went to normal school and he's passed his 10th, so all without taking any benefit given to him by the society. So I don't think it's really unusual is required. If a child knows how to read at a young age, history, geography, science, you can read and do it. I mean, how to the kind of syllabus or curricula we are having in schools and in India, what you are suggesting at a higher level is not possible.
Younger level is a higher level. We are talking about basic education. I think like she said, apples and carrots.
But you know, that is where the normal children who are there with them, actually their friends, they themselves teach them so well, and it actually goes very well. In fact, it is no need then to have a special educator again for the child.
Actually, the deaf education is an extremely different and has its very specific ways of teaching. So that's really not some discussion we can do here. That's extremely different from any way you teach a visually impaired. Because the education that all of us have received is through this. That's the only organ of reception. So with the deaf, you have a very different way of teaching. So I can understand what she's saying.
No, but I think here I differ because I have seen some of the hearing impaired students who have come to Registrar College who have gone to level where they've done their PhD, they've done.
Yes, I have friends. But they've gone into oral education from the very beginning. From the very beginning, they've gone to schools like ours, the regular schools, where they've used hearing aid and they've done the way we've taught, we've learned, they've learned. But for example, I have a student, Anshu Jajodia, profoundly deaf. He is a miracle because he also talks to me on the phone. He's doing his PhD and he's a lecturer at Durgapur College. Has never gone to a school for the deaf. Never. Never seen a school for the deaf. He's been to a school like yours and mine. So one thing we need to understand, and that's the only way we'll come to a conclusion here, is persons with disabilities in the community is not a homogeneous group. You've seen one, that doesn't mean you've seen all. Each one has its own way of going about it. So when we finally, Naresh sums it up and come down to, therefore we have to come down to a goal which is going to be representative of the community as a whole and not really, and that's where the attitudinal comes across. So because attitudes need to change for all disabilities, towards all disabilities. So I think, I don't know, we have access, we've got employability, we've got counseling. And since that's what we do at Trinity, I'm very keen on informing other people about our organizations. There's a very interesting organization in Bangalore called Enable India. And they do something very, very interesting as far as counseling is concerned. They have modules, and Shanti would be more than happy to share this with anybody who wants it or come and do these workshops. They have modules wherein they send the person for employment only after they've gone through, and they have beautiful modules where all this. I run a spa in Kandivali West where I have employed a blind therapist. Now, when we first started the spa, suddenly at 9 o'clock they gave me a call, Madam, aaj hum nahi aayenge. 9:30 they have to report. So I realized that it's not their fault. They haven't gone through that training. So which is what Shanti does with these modules. She has these 45 whatever days training, and it's only after that adult goes through the training that the person is then employed. And all of them get employment. So those of you who are interested are most willing to get in touch with Enable India at Bangalore. They are very good with this particular thing. As far as counseling, towards employability is concerned. I just thought I'd mention that.
Sumedha ji, Jayashri, तुम्हाला काही add करायचं आहे का? Something else?
Actually, मी ते सगळं ऐकलं ना याच्यातून. मी जेवढे डिझेबल पर्सन आहे त्याच्यामध्ये MR सेक्शन हे खूप वेगळं आहे. मेंटली रिटार्डेड चॅलेंज जी मुलं आहेत त्यांची जी कॅपेबिलिटी असते ती हिअरिंग इम्पेअर्ड मुलं किंवा ब्लाइंड मुलं यांच्यापेक्षा खूप वेगळी असते. तर त्यांच्यामध्ये आम्ही असं म्हणजे आमचा प्रयत्न असा चालू आहे की ते जर राहतात त्या एरियामध्ये त्यांना छोटी मोठी कामं जर मिळाली तर त्यांना ते खूप बरं की खूप चांगल्या प्रकारे ऑफिसमध्ये ऑफिस बॉय म्हणून पण काम करू शकतो. तर अशा प्रकारची काही कामं त्यांना फिजिकॅलिटी जर अवेलेबल झाली त्यासाठी आपण प्रयत्न केला पाहिजे.
Whatever little I've understood, I'd like to share another very nice example from Chennai. चेन्नई में एक मैडम है जिनका लड़का खुद ऑटिस्टिक है. उन्होंने एक बहुत अच्छा मॉडल शुरू किया जो मैं आपको अगेन मॉडल शी स्टार्टेड. वो क्या करती हैं, अपने घर में उन्होंने बेकिंग शुरू किया है. वहाँ वो और 10 पेरेंट्स और उनके बच्चों को के साथ मिलकर करती हैं. तो सुबह 11 से लेकर 4 बजे तक बच्चे आते हैं, पेरेंट्स भी आते हैं और वहाँ उनका रूटीन बना हुआ है. इट्स अ वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग मॉडल फॉर चिल्ड्रन विद इंटेलेक्चुअल इम्पेयरमेंट व्हिच इज डन विद पेरेंट्स. मैं वो आपके साथ शेयर कर सकती हूँ बिकॉज वो खुद आकर, वो बॉम्बे की है लेकिन अब चेन्नई में रहती है. शी नोज मराठी एंड शी विल बी विलिंग टू शेयर दिस विद यू. She started this very interesting where they get employed also. There's a little business and there she teaches them how to read. Hard cheese, it's like a routine, and they also bake, and then those biscuits are. So that's a very interesting thing she started because of her son. But then other parents and children are getting involved. So आप मुझे एक बार I'll send you that model. It's very interesting. That's a very interesting model she started.
सबसे बड़ी बात है पेरेंट्स नॉट बेस.
वो पेरेंट्स के साथ करती है, वो साथ में आती है.
पेरेंट्स को मालूम नहीं वोकेशनल ट्रेनिंग वो मालूम ही नहीं.
पेरेंट्स का काम मुझे पता है, स्कूल में जाना बच्चों को लेके वो पता है, लेकिन ट्रेनिंग बस के बाद उसको वोकेशनल ट्रेनिंग देना है और वो वोकेशनल ट्रेनिंग उनको कितना यूजफुल है, उनका अवेयरनेस पेरेंट्स में इतना नहीं है. जो इस लोकेलिटी में हम लोग काम करते हैं उसमें
एक्चुअली चेन्नई का और एक उदाहरण है. एक लड़की ने एक्चुअली एक प्रोजेक्ट शुरू किया था कोरा कागज एंड एक स्कूल में एक्चुअली एक कॉम्पिटिशन करते हुए वो टीम ऑफ द टीनेजर मैगजीन जो है वो चलाते हैं. 1 साल पहले इस लड़की का ये प्रोजेक्ट था कि अपने स्कूल में जो हम नॉर्मली करते थे, बचपन में हम क्या करते थे, अभी हम भूल गए हैं कि जो पेजेस हम इस्तेमाल नहीं करते थे किताब के लिए, वो निकाल के हम बाइंड करके ग्राफ बुक करते. तो उन्होंने वो एक प्रोजेक्ट बना दिया उनके स्कूल के लिए. तो सब वो अनयूज पेजेस कलेक्ट करके वो बाइंडिंग करने लगे और फिर म्यूनिसिपल स्कूल या ऐसे उनको लेने लगे. और वो अभी 10 स्कूल्स में गया है. लेकिन एक अच्छा उसमें कनेक्शन उन्होंने दे दिया कि यंग गाय चेन्नई जो मेंटली चैलेंज लोगों के साथ काम करता है, अभी ये पूरा बाइंडिंग का काम उनको दिया है. तो इट्स बिकम अ लाइक
आउट ऑफ द बॉक्स सोचना पड़ेगा.
यहाँ पे भी होना चाहिए कि अगर हमारे जो हमारा जो प्रोसेस चलता है वोकेशनल सेक्शन है, उनको अगर ऐसा कुछ ये मिलता है कि बाबा ये सब उनको देंगे तो हम लोग उन बच्चों को वही सिखाएंगे. और वो घर में भी जाते हैं, अगर हमारे सेंटर तक नहीं आते हैं तो वो घर में बना सकते हैं और वहाँ पे जो 2-4 बच्चे को इकट्ठा होकर वो भी बना सकते हैं. तो हम लोग ऐसा कुछ उनको मिलता है. ऐसा कोई भी कॉर्पोरेट एरिया है तो हमें ऐसे ऑर्डर नहीं देते. हाँ चलो आप फाइल्स बनाते हो तो फाइल्स के ऑर्डर उनको तो फाइल करते ही है ना, तो फाइल के ऑर्डर चलो आपको देते हैं, ऐसा नहीं होता.
इतकं छान चाललंय ते की पूर्ण वर्षभरात त्यांना एकही दिवस असा नाही की एक्झिबिशनला कुठला तरी कॉर्पोरेटने बोलवलं नाही. कालागुणा फेस्टिवलला सुद्धा ते एडिशन पार्टिसिपेट करून त्यांचं IQ लेवल त्यांचा कमी आहे. मुलं जी आहेत ती 18 वर्षापासून 40 वर्षापर्यंतचं वय आहे त्यांचं, पण IQ लेवल त्याची खूप कमी आहे. पण असं वेगवेगळ्या गतिविधी फोल्डर्स आहेत. हँडीक्राफ्ट्समध्ये जास्तीत जास्त काम करतात. खूप चांगलं चाललंय. सगळं एक्सपोर्ट्स पण चाललंय. सोशल इंटरॅक्शनसाठी ते खूप मदत करतात. आणि एक ॲप्रिशिएबल म्हणजे त्यांच्या घरी कोणी असं मेंटली चॅलेंज नाही आहे. त्या बाईने स्वतः ती फॅशन डिझायनर आहे. आता तिची मुलगी सुद्धा तिला जॉईन झाली आणि ती दोघी मिळून करतात. मध्ये बारामतीला आले होते आमच्याकडे, ते सगळे 40 मुलांना घेऊन चालतात. आणि त्यानंतर आमच्याकडे कॅम्पसमध्ये 6000 मुली राहतात. त्या 6000 मुलींच्या समोर त्यांनी एक डान्स त्याचा पाठ हे केला आणि तो केल्यानंतर त्यांच्याबरोबर इंटरॅक्शन करणं वगैरे की सोशली सुद्धा कसं त्यांनी वागायला पाहिजे, या गोष्टी सुद्धा खूप चांगल्या शिकवल्या जातात. तर मला वाटतं तुम्ही त्यांचा मी तुम्हाला खूप अतिशय सुरेख रिक्वेस्ट करायला नको कोणी की
त्याच्यानंतर आमच्याकडे आता मुलांना रेग्युलर बेसिसवर काम करणे आणि पेपर प्लेट या डिशच्या मुला तर इझिली काम करतो. आमचा एम हाच आहे की त्यांना कंटिन्यू काम मिळेल. तर त्यांना जर हे जमतंय तर घरी घर बसल्या ते काम करू शकतात. पण आमच्या आता सध्या तो प्लॅन होता ज्यांच्याकडे गार्डन एरिया आहे किंवा त्यांना रेग्युलर तसेच हे चालतं कॅन्टीन्स वगैरे आहे. तर आम्हाला बँक ऑफ इंडियाचा आता सध्या आम्हाला चालू आहे ते ऑर्डर आम्हाला
खूप असं डिबेट टेक असतं की आपण बरेच एनजीओज मी बघते की ते जर बाबा आदमच्या जमान्याबद्दल त्याचं असतात.
नाही आम्हाला
जर जे इंडस्ट्री लोकांना पाहिजे ते जर का आपण दिलं तर आपल्याला त्यासाठी रिक्वेस्ट करायला लाचार राहायला नको.
We'll just move it. हे झाल्यावर जर आपण we'll carry the conversation forward. We have a new say something. Yeah, please. Can you introduce yourself?
Could you introduce yourself?
Okay. I am Naresh Ahuja. Hello everybody. I am Naresh Ahuja from Bhartiya Plastic Products. We are in the business of corporate gifts. We manufacture, we design, and we import. And we have been doing this in the last 27 years. Okay, now recently we have started a new initiative. It's called Giftiness. Gifts that spread happiness. We feel that the corporates who are clients, they are not exposed to the beautiful products and the beautiful feeling you get when you give products from the NGOs and the disabled and so we are trying to give them the designs, educate them what are the designs which can be used so that the products become attractive and viable for that market, and trying to promote it to this sector. Now she was saying something about Advitya. We are also in touch with them, and then we are also doing products from mouth and foot painting artists. So we feel that this project, with support of if the NGOs come together and they are acceptable to change their thinking, like we want to make the designs which are like viable for the market. As you rightly said, कि वो पहले ज़माने की designs देते हैं ये, that people don't appreciate. So we are trying to change that by working together with the NGOs.
So there's another example from the blind guy in Mahabaleshwar who makes candles, and now he started as his own business first, making candles, designer candles, not simple candles. But now he's supporting 89 people as he gives us work as job work. So if a person is making 10 candles, he earns. If he doesn't make, he's not a liability to that person. So social entrepreneur kind of a program where everyone is earned. And those candles are beautiful candles. They can go at any kind of purpose.
So exactly like this, we are trying to provide a platform where these people, the NGOs, are getting the things. Now, what is the difficulty what we are facing, what we have seen, is that the pricing of these products are very high compared to a normal product. Now, when we go to approach our corporate client and we tell him that आप लोग जो गिफ्ट देते हो, आप ये गिफ्ट मत दो, इसकी जगह पे आप corporates को promotional gifts like advertising gifts आप ये NGO का दो, तो वो बोलते हैं कि भाई इतना महंगा क्यों है? हमारे तो budgets limited होते हैं.
क्योंकि एक तो उनकी NGO के नाम पे सोचिए कि वो आधे भाव में देगा.
नहीं आधे भाव में नहीं.
ऐसा corporate will first deal करे.
No.
नहीं आधे भाव में नहीं.
Right.
Market rate में दे, market rate.
Yeah.
It should be market rate.
Too much.
अभी अगर NGO का प्रोडक्ट है वो तो पहले बोलते हैं हम are not for profit. If it is not for profit, why the prices are more than a factory which is making profit?
Nilesh, you should get in touch with an organization called RNA. This is a government organization and it's run by the National Trust. And what they've done, अरुणिम के अंडर में, because वहाँ आपके एक झटके में सारा काम हो जाएगा. अरुणिम के अंडर में वो सारे organizations पूरे देश के हैं जो ये सब products बनाते हैं. और उन्होंने आप जैसे कह रहे हैं, they have completely revamped their design. They have designers on board who takes their designs and then gives them the state of the art. So that's an organization you should get in touch with, and it's a government gift. So there's a very interesting lady who heads it in Delhi. There is a website also, National Trust का website है, और the organization का नाम है ARUNIM, ARUNIM. ARUNIM. वहाँ आप बात करेंगे तो आपको सारा information मिल जाएगा. आप उनको बहुत मदद कर सकते हैं. Very symbiotic what you want to do.
Thank you. Just move ahead.
the National Trust that we have, government, that runs this ARUNI at Kabulba.
There were 15 minutes left, and I would like to give the floor to Mr. Desarikar also, and we'll try and wrap it up. We'll come up with some kind of, we'll end up with at least 2 or 3 projects which we can all collaborate on. So we'd like you to start thinking forward. Contact details, okay? We need to know who's within this. And write down who we want to connect with. This is communicate. If there's some idea or some experience you have, you want to communicate, you'd like to do that, or there's something you heard and you want them to respond to you on that, write it down. And this is collaborate. I think already we have seen a few people here saying, okay, we're going to work with you. So who are these people you want to collaborate with, and hopefully on what subject you're looking at? We'd love to hear from you, but don't forget to write your name and organization and some contact details.
I didn't get it. Sorry, at the time of introduction, when the lady sitting next to Manish.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
नमस्कार, मी अविनाश चौसटवार, सहायक आयुक्त, समाज कल्याण मंडळ उपनगर. तर मी आता इथे आपल्याकडे पार्टिसिपेट म्हणून आलो. एक गोष्ट लक्षात आली की आपण इंटेलिजंटच्या गोष्टींकडे पण करतो किंवा अवेअरनेस फक्त विद्यार्थ्यांमध्ये किंवा पर्सन विथ डिसॅबिलिटीसाठी आपण काय करतो, कम्युनिटीसाठी आपण खूप काही काम करू शकतो. आज पाहिलं एक गोष्ट अशी दिसून येते की
सॉरी देसरीकर साहेब, रिक्वेस्ट आली तुम्ही हिंदीमध्ये बोलू शकाल का? काही लोकांना समजत नसेल.
बरं ठीक है. एक बात समझ में आती है कि हम बच्चों को उनके खेल को अवेयर करो. अभी भी मेरा पहला व्यू है कि कम्युनिटी अवेयर करो. हम जाते हैं बस में तो बस में जगह नहीं देते. ट्रेन है तो ट्रेन में बैठने के लिए, खड़े रहने के लिए जगह नहीं मिलती. वो वुमेन्स हो या डिसेबल पर्सन हो या ओल्ड एज हो, उनके प्रति सब कम्युनिटी को अवेयर करना जरूरी है. माता पिता को अवेयर करना चाहिए, बच्चों को अवेयर करना चाहिए, बाहर के सभी लोगों को अवेयर करना चाहिए. इसके लिए कोई अच्छा सा प्रोजेक्ट बना सकते हैं तो वो बेटर हो जाएगा. हमारे अभी देखता हूँ बॉम्बे में कम से कम 100 करोड़ की पॉपुलेशन है और बच्चों का स्कूल देखे जाए तो ओनली 52 स्कूल्स आते हैं. तकरीबन 2,500 बच्चे उसमें पढ़ते हैं. तो इससे ज़्यादा बच्चे नहीं हैं क्या? इससे ज़्यादा बच्चे हैं. पेरेंट्स को अवेयरनेस नहीं हो सका, इसकी वजह से ये बच्चे भी स्कूल तक नहीं आ सके. दूसरी बात है लर्निंग डिसेबिलिटी के बारे में हम सोचते हैं तो हम हर पेरेंट को अभी अवेयर करेंगे, कम्युनिटी को अवेयर करेंगे तो इसका बेटर रिजल्ट आपको मिलेगा. मेरा एक रिक्वेस्ट है कि कम्युनिटी अवेयरनेस के लिए कोई प्रोग्राम बना सकते हैं तो देखो. एक एफएम रेडियो है जो सुबह अगर तो 2-3 बार अगर 2-3 दिन चले जाते हैं तो सब लोग सुनते हैं. कम से कम ये एरिया अच्छा है कि इस जरिए से हम स्कूल तक लोगों तक पहुंच सकते. और दूसरा एक मेथड है कि जो हमारे यहाँ जो भी स्कूल है, कॉलेज है, उनमें जाके हम अवेयर करें तो उसके बेटर रिजल्ट एक 4-5 साल में, 10 साल में हम सामने आएंगे. हम पर्सन विद डिसेबिलिटी के लिए, सीनियर सिटीजन के लिए, एक वुमेन्स के लिए, सबका काम एक साथ शुरू होता है. थैंक यू.
Thank you. You were saying something. Yeah.
Regarding the employability now, how much are we giving importance to the health issues which these people face? What kind of support systems do families have for their health? So the thing is that I feel that somewhere a proper documentation of the health support systems need to be created, and up to a certain level, say children with mental disorders, it's easier to handle them when they are young, but as they grow up, I think it's a very, very challenging task for the families. And though the family may not be able to say, it is very, very difficult for parents to handle the mentally challenged children once they grow up. And how it is being addressed by the society. So I feel that somewhere we need to create structures, and it is very, very important. And this is also one aspect that needs to be looked into. I do not know whether anybody can add on, are there any proper systems for that? So actually when we talk about Roundtable online, the thing is that my segment I have a passion for is for children with disabilities, for people with disabilities and senior citizens. The support systems are lacking completely, and we need to work around that. So our first initiative which we are taking in this is that we are first going into documenting their health status. So we are first getting at that level, and then we are looking at training teams of people to handle, that is a long term, it is in the pipeline. I think by the time we come out with a model which will be effective and will be able to execute it, I think maybe in another 9 months. But that is also one of our focus areas, that we provide trained people to handle the health issues of those people. And we create a trained workforce which is outside the hospital setup. A hospital only for emergencies. But what about the support systems that need to be created for addressing them? So that is one key area which we will be working upon, and building a support, a field teach. And we will be using, we are going to be working with some schools. There's a school in Nashik called as Prabodhini for the mentally challenged. The lady, she herself had a mentally challenged son, and she started with her own funds. She had put up a small school and it's for his friends now. She put up a separate teacher training institute for training teachers to handle it. And the children, she brings in inclusive participation of the parents who even help her and assist her in running the school. So I feel that we would be using, since there are so many people out here who are having these kind of issues, I think that if we can address and start working on creating these kind of support systems outside the hospital network, I think that would also be very nice. It would be an opportunity which needs to be explored.
Thank you so much, sir.
Another booking which I need to add. Basically, I am a trainer by passion. So where innovation and creativity, emotional intelligence, transformation workshops through meditation. That is my niche. So as an input, I am available to really work on this. Where we together could make a difference in this dimension.
We have a project where we provide first aid training to the blind themselves. That I, as a blind person, know that if I get hurt or I am hurt or someone else is hurt, how should I do? What should I do to stop that bleeding? How should I tie a bandage? Or where it's burnt? What should be done? So that education not only helps me as an individual to take care of myself or to help someone, but also in situations like if suppose my mother is hurt and she may not be confident to allow me to help, but I can ask someone else, guide someone else to get that help done and get the things done. So ideally what you're talking is building the support system outside the hospitals. Things this I thought things can work, and my vision is to take this training across pan-India.
Thank you. I think one last point, and I think we need to start summing up.
See, the ecosystem and the surrounding has to change. So Asian people have tourism sector developed for people with disability, where expected inbound, outbound. Most of the countries have facilities where you can just be free and move here and there. Actually, I don't think so. We have those kind of incentive tours for people with disabilities. Why it should be deprived that. Right? And the second thing is we don't have insurance coverage without riders for people with disabilities. So that would be something which should have been covered. This has to be highlighted to the government, right? Because their age, according to a normal person, is I think depending on the disability, it is reduced by 10% or 20%. But we don't have healthcare systems in place. Plus, we don't have that funds available, which is affordable. So these are the two things. I came in late, so I don't know whether this was covered.
The insurance companies need to really give it a thought, that they have to be specific things taken care of, the insurance of these kind of children. We do face challenges.
We always go at the mortality rate,
Yes.
which is the benchmark. So they don't deviate on that. And finally, whether it is life or general. So there are
That the government has to take the initiative that this percentage has to be allocated for premiums at the lower premiums for these
So
children.
there has been a lot of rejections as far as claims are concerned or giving them insurance.
That's to be
Expected
done.
life or general. So we are talking about saving for their retirement or their future, and say, the standard of living.
Just to add here, insurance company cannot ask any extra premium to a disabled person. That's already legally there, laws there in place. Many people don't know, that's why many agents also they don't know they charge that extra premium. So it needs to be.
They normally don't charge extra premium, or
But
they
then
will
they
exclusion.
Yeah,
They will exclusion. So there has to be something with insurance company, and I provide a blanket cover.
They have start with roads.
Yeah.
The rules are very less.
Like you have blind and no prone to accidents.
There's a small line which is government mandated.
That's if you have
Thanks for this point, Paresh. We'd like to just ask Ritika to kind of sum up the discussions. It's a very, very short session, and I don't think we can expect miracles, but I think what's really happened here is a very good cross-pollination of ideas, experiences, and thoughts. And after Ritika summed up, I think we'll try and zero in on 2 or 3 projects which all of us feel that we can work on. And let's start moving on that. Ritika,
Paresh, there's Himalaya on wheels, which is in our country. So, and there are other, I let you know, there are other people who are working on this. Access, employability, and counseling are the 3 things that have really come up. We already have Inu, Sunita, Naresh, and Vidya in a particular model project working on access. One thing could be to be able to figure out if you, and on an individual capacity and on an NGO capacity, we can always be part of wanting to say that this is the way we want to get involved with your project. That's always there. That's something we can take up, or we can take up something from what they are doing, in which case we'll have to talk to them. Employability, as I see it, is an issue, and every community has its own dynamics as far as the employability thing is concerned. But what I really realized at the end of each one's conversation was mindset change and perception change, and mindset change and perception change. So counseling, not counseling, but if we can, for example, when you talk about parents' workshop, if you design a parents' workshop where you get in all these things, you talk about insurance, you talk about health, are you aware of your health issues? Are you aware of your insurance issues? Are you aware of the fact that you will also go for a holiday? That if you have a module which you can create, wherein are you aware of schools which are inclusive? Are you aware of your rights if someone refuses you? So it'll be interesting to be able to create a module where, at the end of, if you just talk about perception change. So it is for us to be able to decide what we want to do. We'll have to boil down to 1 or 2 that is achievable, that we can create. I will always talk about attitude because that's all that Trinity does. We are only into perception. And so we have a radio show that happens every year. So we just finished the 3rd season of radio show this time, which was aired on 17 cities in the country, all India radio. FM Rainbow, FM Gold, and Vivid Bharati. We will do the season 4 next year, and we are a cross-disability organization, so we talk about everything. Technology and disability, sports and disability, sexuality and disability, everything, health and disability, accessibility and disability. So I think it's very important for us to quickly, if I have to quickly ask one word, what is it that Geeta you would like to, is it access, employability, or counseling? Counseling. Quickly, it has to be quick. I have 5 minutes. So accessibility.
Employability could be even self-employment.
This discussion is about coming to that one goal that we will all say, before we come to RISE 2015, we have been able to take care of 20 schools. We've been able to take care of 100 employment. We've been able to create 5, so it has to be quantifiable.
So I would like to come employability.
Employability. What does that mean? You want 100 people employed, you want 200 people employed?
Train people to bridge the gap between the employability, the requirements, and the existence.
And what does that mean? You see, are you getting it? Disability is a huge, it's an umbrella thing. You really have to come down to the nitty-gritty, one point that you want to do.
Bridge the gap between what the skills people have.
No, Shushmita, we all have to do together. We have to create a goal which all of us do.
I would chip in that if that's
So bridge the gap between employability. Should we take up employability then? Yeah. Is that something which is fine with everybody?
Yeah.
Alright. So skill development. So finally, we are going to talk about one target which has to do with skill development. Fascinating. We come down to at least that. Skill development. What about skill development? Again, we need to have that.
Interpersonal skills.
Okay. Does that mean that in every organization we can create a module wherein we take hold of somebody? Let's say Dhruv says, I have the experience.
Also, because certain issues do not get the visibility that they need, do not get the support they need, how would you then bring those alongside those that are more popular, more glamorous, more, whatever, right? So how do you really raise awareness around these issues and look at integrated development? How do we carry it, right? So that is one of the first and most important objectives of RISE, cross-sectoral dialogue. The second is an output or an outcome that we look at from RISE, is really partnerships and collaboration. How do we take this forward? Because RISE is not an event, right? RISE is a platform that we're trying to build, which will hopefully give us results, right? Not hopefully, we definitely want to show results. We do not want to just have an event where somebody comes, talks, and then goes away. And that is why the format is of this nature. It is not a panel. There are no presentations. There are no profiles. I am Keron from IDOPRO, and I think that's about it. What is more important is what we are going to discuss and what we are going to come out with finally at the end of this day. If you'll notice from the agenda, we have co-hosts for every roundtable. We don't have sponsors at all. We work with co-hosts because they have to be working in that area for us to want to partner with them. We don't just want a logo somewhere, right? So we have co-hosts for every roundtable. Unfortunately, we have not had a co-host for this roundtable, but it is our commitment that irrespective, we will continue to work on disability. We will continue to work for senior citizens because we believe that's such a critical, such a very, very important issue where we need to keep highlighting, bring it into media more often, bring more people into it and bring more awareness. And it may be slow and steady steps that we're taking, but I'm okay with that, and my team and all of us are really, really committed to it. And I thank you for giving your time. Those who came from last year to this year, that's really great. That's progress. We still continue to stay together, and I think that's really what we're looking for. So I'm going to be leaving in just a little bit, but I just wanted to share this, my thoughts and my what I'm looking at out of RISE and this conversation over here. I hope we will come up with real actionables after this, because as I said, that's the objective of RISE. It's lovely to meet all of you. It's lovely to talk to all of you. But at the end of the day, we definitely want action out of this that we can take forward and continue to stay in touch. Yeah. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, because I know all of you are already so well known to each other. But thank you for giving me this opportunity to be able to come and talk to you. Thank you very much. And to begin this, I think Hema, you need to take it from here and take it forward. No. That's why we're a team, right? Naresh, I'm going to give this in your very able hands. Okay. And all of you. Yeah, I'll work over next week.
So, Naresh, I'm going to introduce you to Naresh. Naresh Karmakar he is an independent consultant, but he's been in the development sector, and he's going to moderate the session. We have experts here, Ritika, she's with Prenani. We have Geeta Castellino. How do you want to be this? We have Sushmita. She is founder of Voice Vision. And we have Dhruv Lapra, Medical Couriers. So Naresh is going to take us through the whole project.
Thanks, Emma. Good morning, everybody. I think just looking around the table and the few faces I know, I think we've got a whole lot of great inputs coming our way in the next 2 hours. Today, as we know, this roundtable is on visibility. The largest rubric is empowering 100,000 disabled by 2020. Now, what will that look like, and what are the different aspects we're going to look at? Is something that is going to emerge from this room. So we were thinking about what could be an overarching theme, and though we are talking about disabled-friendly architecture, there are many facets to it. We are talking about advocacy, talking about sensitization, we're talking about infrastructure for sure, access for all, talking about livelihoods, a whole lot of things. But if you look at a couple of focus areas, I think if you look at advocacy, as one pillar on which everything we do will stand. And the other one is about access. I mean, we've had some horrendous personal experiences even now, this morning, which will come out from the table, and that is what we really want to do. Now, just to introduce you to the format, what we'll do initially is, starting with the expert panel, of course, and going down the room, everybody will be given about a minute. Please introduce yourself, talk about your name, your organization, and how, what you're doing, especially in this field. Even if you're not from this field, it's absolutely no problem. You are empathizing with this cause, and it will be great to have your inputs. My connection, I'm a development consultant, but the reason I'm here is that once, of course, IDOPRO, I've been in touch with connect with them for the last couple of years. But I'm also a trustee of the citizens group called the HOS Federation. My fellow trustee Vidya is also out here. And we are launching we're trying to make HOS ward, which is the Vanderbilt Santa Cruz area, a disabled-friendly ward, which is looking at an access campaign. We would love to share it with you. And before we go ahead, you've probably been given these colored sheets of paper, right? Now, this is exactly, these are the three pillars of IDOPRO and this whole conference. What we want you to do is use these very well, because this is going to be the future collaboration kind of grouping. The triangle is what we call the connect triangle. So at the end of the session, if you want to connect with some people who are spoken in this room, you can first of all write your name and contact details and write the name of the person or the organization you want to connect to. The second one is what we call the communicate pillar. In the communicate pillar is if there's something you would like to share, or if there's something someone has shared you want to know more about. That is something you write on this. The rectangle, the pink rectangle which has been given out here, that's the communicate one. And the circle, the final one, the circle, is the collaborate circle, where you can actually see an immediate opportunity to collaborate with an organization or an individual sitting out here to take forward the project you're doing in this area. So these are the three things I really advise you to make use of it. All of this will be collected at the end and be distributed to everybody, so that the conversation doesn't end in this room. We go right ahead and build on this. So without further ado, I think I'll hand over the mic to Ritika, and we'll go around the room and we'll see how we can take this.
My name is Ritika Savani, and I don't have communication, which is what we do actually at the I've been in the sector for the last 22 years. I started my career by getting in my BEd in debt education. That's what I did as a service section educator. But I started Trinayani, which is an NGO, in 2006, and what we do is communicate and connect and change perceptions about persons with disabilities and their world amongst the non-disabled people. So we're completely and wholeheartedly focused on changing mindsets and perceptions, which we do through a radio show that we do on disability on All India Radio, through films that we do, which are all on YouTube, and through sensitivity workshops that we specifically designed for the corporate sector and for the academic community, amongst many things. So we are an awareness-driven organization.
Good morning, Geeta Castelino, CEO with ADT Baramati, which has 23 education institutes and training on 23 of them. It's nothing much to do with disability, basically there in Baramati for education, but definitely with accessibility and inclusive education. I started 16 design schools in India and 2 in USA. For fashion, basically fashion as well as interior design, and been working with architecture and interior design students on accessibility, fashion students for different kinds of disabilities, how they can wear their clothes basically, and what would be the simpler way of wearing it at the same time to be in the fashion industry and do whatever the trends are there, so that it becomes easier for us to not be outside but part of the society. And I'm a psychologist also, so I do a lot of counseling sessions, basically mainly mental and physical challenge, physical abuse, but more than that for career counseling. Thank you.
myself Sushmita Mugna from Voice Vision. I started this organization 14 years ago with the goal of making difference to one person, like the help of Computer Training Institute, where computer reads out everything for us and making technology accessible. But now, over the 14 years, we could really make little impact in few of the individuals' life with computer training, plus other projects as matrimonial section where we have all able and disabled people can come and search their life partner, plus we conduct get-togethers where they can come and meet, interact. Then we have another knowledge session areas where we do imparting training like first aid training, that even a blind person can be of help to someone, because what Ritika said that this people perception needs to be changed, that no, being a blind you need your help, but what the hell you will help someone. So that's what we do, a little bit of that.
Good morning everyone. My name is Bruce. I'm the founder of Medical Couriers. Medical Couriers is an innovative social enterprise that is for profit. We aim to hire low-income deaf adults in an excellent courier service. So you can pretty much say that we are a DHL or a FedEx, but we hire only low-income deaf adults as of now. As we grow, we have plans to look at other disabilities. Personally, I'm very passionate about developing business models, not charity. Developing clear, crystal business models that engage with marginalized groups such as people with disabilities. Accessibility is now becoming a little bit of a concern and a personal passion for me because my father is a paraplegic. Thank you.
Good morning. I am Anjali Darvi. I wear 3 hats. I am the proprietor of Anjali Darvi Associates Chartered Accountants. I am a CEO of a management consultancy corporate advisory company called S1 Institute, and a director of Munch CSR Advisory Services, wherein I am advising companies for under Section 135, and the funds that I am generating through this are being used for different projects. Across, it may not be only disability, it could be relating to women, it could be relating to children, it could be relating to senior citizens, but across the board CSR projects are being handled, implemented, and results, it is a result-driven thing, it's not just a check is written out and that is end of it. So we try to get results for the projects that we are undertaking.
My name is Rahul Bajaj. I have come on behalf of DEEDS, which is an institute for the hearing impaired, where I believe in charity and for better growth, opportunities for development, for jobs, and I would just like to do my part.
मी सुलेखा विचारे जिव्हाळा ट्रस्टच्या उभारी या सेंटरतर्फे उभारी ही आमचा मतिमंद आणि बहुविकलांग विद्यार्थ्यांसाठी व्होकेशनल सेंटर आहे, म्हणजे प्रशिक्षण दिलं जातं तिकडे आणि त्याचं संपूर्ण कामकाज आमच्या ट्रस्टची सांगतील पूर्णपणे.
गुड मॉर्निंग. मी जयश्री राजेश रोके. मी स्वतः स्पेशल एज्युकेटर आहे आणि गेली 7 वर्ष मी एक सेंटर चालवते ठाण्यामध्ये जिव्हाळा ट्रस्टच्या अंडर, उभारी सेंटर म्हणून. तिथे वोकेशनल सेंटर आहे. 18 ते म्हणजे 15 ते 18च्या पुढची जी मुलं आहेत मतिमंद, तर त्यांचं आम्ही हे सेंटर चालवतो. त्याच्यामध्ये वेगवेगळ्या प्रकारची त्यांचं स्किल डेव्हलपमेंट आणि त्याच्यावर काम करतो आम्ही. तर हे सेंटर आपल्याला चालवण्याचा उद्देश आमचा हाच आहे की या मुलांना समाजामध्ये त्यांचं स्थान मिळवून देणं आणि त्यांच्या पुढच्या आयुष्यासाठी त्यांना स्वतःच्या पायावर उभं करणं, हा आमचा आहे.
I am Pratibha and I am with DEEDS. In fact, I am very privileged to have with me today my 2 trustees, Mrs. Radha Bajaj and Mrs. Millie Chadda, and also Rahul Bajaj, who is a volunteer with us. What we do in DEEDS is that we serve the deaf community in 3 areas, basically by imparting free education, giving them skill training in various vocations, and leading to job placements. So the objective is very clear. We want to make the deaf financially self-reliant and contributors in mainstream society. We started 10 years ago with a school for the deaf, which we built in Dehradun, and subsequently we've got about 6 ongoing projects. Everything is free of cost for the debt, and we are actually starting with 3 new projects in the next 1.5 months. So in the last 10 years, we've benefited about 11,000 deaf and given placements to over 1,000 deaf youth. I see a lot of familiar faces here. Dhruv is a great associate with us. He takes a lot of our deaf. Ritika is a friend and also a well-wisher. And with Anjali Dalvi, we are starting something new with Rotary. The rest I leave to my 2 trustees because they have a lot to say.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Meenu Kevlani. Quoting Dale Carnegie, the most important things in the world have been accomplished by people who saw no hope at all. Well, that's what exactly Sunita and me saw. The scene 14 years ago when we joined ADAPT. Ritika and me are offshoot from there. ADAPT, which is formerly known as the Spastic Society of India. I particularly, worked with the Bandra Center. Access was one big monster which has kept chasing us and is still chasing us all through our life, which Naresh just mentioned that we'll be taking through this, the session, and going forward we'll see some actionable, results. For most of us who use crutches, walkers, and wheelchairs, and people with hearing impairment and visual impairment, access in India particularly is a big challenge at all aspects of life. I don't want to go into the details because most of us know what I'm talking about. So that is exactly what we started with working on, where there was no hope at all, and nobody had heard about it that time of the period. And well, now we are seeing some results and some rays of hope, and there is a change which has happened over the period of years. And Ritika has now, working with Trineni, and the way the media plays a very crucial role in this. So I think now we are getting some results, and the platform like IDPro, we hope that we will take this forward and spread it more largely at a large scale. So I think this is why we are here, and I'm looking forward to a lot of work from here.
Hi everyone, good morning. Sunita Sancheti. As Neenu said, that access is the key for all type of progress for people with disability. I got my disability at the age of 16 and I had to stop my education because the place was not accessible. From that time I realized that how important access is, and working on access became my passion. So other than family business, I think access is just what I want for all over the country. Thank you.
I'm Vidya Vaidya. I'm from the H-West Federation. We work as a trust, we work on civic issues. And part of the problem was our citizens like Neenu and Sunita. It's interacting with them that we realize that access is really a very, very big issue in their lives and in ours because they are friends. So we sat together and decided that the first step towards access for all will be an audit of a particular area to see what exactly the problems are and what the solutions could be. So that's what we as a federation are involved with, and Sunita and she are very, very closely involved. Neenu are very closely involved in this audit of ours. We hope that through the audit we will be able to modify some buildings, at least change the mindset of especially the planners. We are interacting with the planners of our city to make sure that they understand what access for all actually means, what measures they have to put in place so that the city can be planned well. Today we have bad access, okay. So we will modify some buildings, but whatever will come here in future must be accessible, well accessible to everyone.
Good morning. I'm Anisha. I'm from a company called Coffee Technologies. I'm here into mobile applications. So basically, I'm here to
understand what are some of the requirements of this particular sector, because technology is not something I know about it, it's too complicated. Technology is just a tool. And technology, so let's not discuss technology. Technology is just a solution to a lot of problems that we are discussing here. So I would like to sit with the domain experts, people who are working in this field, and understand what is the need, and then perhaps we can develop a solution which will, if not actually do things, but at least tell you which are the places, location-based, where you have this kind of facility available. Like you said, various buildings on your handset, you can just see, that so you will have that awareness. So this is what I understand. After this session, perhaps my understanding will improve, and I would like to work with people in this field to do something.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Vikram. I'm from TCS Mainly. I'm sorry, I didn't get your name. Vikram. I'm from TCS Mainly, which is again a platform for associate engagement at workplace and providing avenues to our associates in voluntary initiatives to various focus areas like education, health, environment, economic empowerment, and using IT being our core tools, using it to make software, so making software for self-help groups, NGOs and other institutions. We also have one of its kind course called Advanced Computer Training Center for the Visually Impaired. It's a 45-day residential course which is conducted in Uttarajyoti in Bangalore and MN Balaji Home for the Blind in Jodhpur. So it's a 45-day residential course where we teach visually impaired students across India. They come to these places and we teach them soft skills, personality enhancement sessions. And there are these various heads of different HR functions, various banks who come and hire these associates in their organization.
Could you repeat your name?
Vikram.
From?
TCS, Medis.
Yes.
Hello, I'm Radha Bajaj. I'm happy to be here today and happy to be associated with Deeds. Nice to meet you after a long time. Actually, and with the rest of you. We have many ongoing projects. We're looking forward to starting a few more, which is a computer center, early intervention for the deaf, and a psychological or a cell for people getting jobs or early young adults and people already in jobs. So I give it to Mini Chadra for further information about us.
We're working at DEEDS. It stands for Development, Education, Empowerment of Disadvantaged to the Society. We started working with hearing impaired because we found there were not enough institutions to improve their skills in terms of human skills, behavior skills, job placements. Hearing impairment is not taken as a disability in our world because the person looks as normal as any other human being. Nobody realizes the psychological issues which these children go through in their lives. Their social behavior is also needs a lot of improvement. Because of their disability, they are lesser in growth in terms of their mental faculties, their educational abilities to go into the mainstream. So at DEEDS, we really make all our effort to bring them to a certain level so that they can become contributors to the main society. The aim here to come here is we are unable to do a sales pitch for DEEDS, which I think you at Trinelli would be able to help us with our social media. Deaf use a lot of mobile applications. In fact, they communicate very effectively through SMSs, which somebody could help us to maintain a software or make something for us. One more thing which I felt that somebody could help us with. I'll just come back on that.
I am Lamya Rangwala from CSR Advisors, and we are a CSR consulting firm. Basically, we just started 1 year back, and we do implementation and need assessment and
and we have events and workshops.
I think what's very clear is we've got a very broad spectrum of.
Yes, please.
Why don't you join us?
Why don't you join us here, please?
I've already got one representative from the organization.
We don't mind many representatives.
Yes, please sit down. Just hold the mic for him. I've introduced Karthik. He's an artist from the Putnam Association.
मेरा नाम बनीना है, मैं मॉडलपुर से हूँ। मैं अपने पैरों से पेंटिंग, कंप्यूटर्स, लैपटॉप, मोबाइल रिपेयरिंग, सब करता हूँ, ड्राइविंग, सब काम करता हूँ।
Actually, we requested him to draw something. आप करने वाले हो? Settle down and then maybe you can introduce yourself.
So it's quite obvious, like I was saying, that a fair amount of, I would say, visibility sector is represented here, and hopefully that will lead to a very good conversation. But as you know, we're going to end this session at 1 o'clock. So we really want to come up with something concrete which comes in. I was just checking with Meenu before we started, and what he tells me, the conservative estimate is something like 5 to 6% of this country's population is affected by some disability or the other. That really, if you look at real numbers, we're talking about at least 5 to 6 crores, that's a conservative estimate. And yet, the level at which sensitization of this issue needs to be prevalent in society or amongst government channels or other organizations doesn't seem to be happening. So what we'd like to do is, and there's no order, I mean we did this introduction down, but feel free to ask questions, to comment, to make suggestions, or share your experience. But that's where we want to go ahead. And but before we get into practical projects, say of access or any other projects, I would like to put the floor open for what do you think are the key issues facing this sector? Whether it's in terms of the people who actually with a disability, what are the kind of issues that come up there, or whether it's about creating an environment which will facilitate a better life for our fellow human beings. So I would just like to throw the floor open. Let's try and get some kind of ideas from the group. Yes, go ahead, Parikshit. Would you like a microphone?
Am I audible?
Yes.
Good morning, friends. My name is Paresh. I'm the senior manager from Roundtable Painting Artists. I represent Roundtable Painting Artists. I guess most of you are maybe aware about us. So we support people who are differently able, and our mission is to give them a sense of livelihood. Currently, we have 18 artists who aspire to become renowned artists like Razaz or N.F. Hussain. So we try to reach their goal and aspiration. So we do corporate engagement programs, we commission paintings, and we replicate their paintings on merchandise. And the livelihood, I'm going to say the funds or the proceeds that are generated, we pay them a kind of a sponsorship on a monthly basis, which ranges from $150 for a student artist, which goes up to $1,000 per month, for which we expect them to make at least 5 paintings annually, which we again kind of give them a royalty. Also, if their commission painting is selected by XYZ person, and tomorrow if they, God forbid, stop painting, still the association will pay them a lifetime royalty. So the association is owned, run and managed by handicapped people. So that's about Roundtable Painting Artists. And our goal now is to there is a skill development and livelihood program which we kind of run parallelly. We want to open a state-of-the-art gallery for these people. So that's our vision. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Paresh. So going back to the question, if we could just talk, try and enumerate a few of the issues that seem to be very, very prevalent in the sector and the work we're trying to do. So the floor is open. Feel free to contribute. Meenu, would like to start with what you've experienced today, I guess.
The point here I'm trying to make is we've left home at 9 and even 8:30.
to reach here at 11, and we know that we won't be reaching back home before 3. Okay, so for any person who's out of the house for so many hours, at least once you need to use the washroom, right? Otherwise you don't drink water. Even if you don't drink water, still you need to do that. So it is as important as that, as crucial as that. So when we came here, and then considering that this was the World Trade Center, we expected that at least one disabled-friendly toilet would be there, because we're talking about the international standards and the kind of forums and conferences that happen here, and there are a lot of international people coming here as well. To our dismay and horror, there was none. There is not a single disabled-friendly toilet in this entire buildings, and we are on the 31st floor. I don't know if there are any more floors above, but in the entire 31st floors, there is not a single toilet. So we had to really struggle for at least half an hour from the time we landed here with the IDPO team, Pali and Manoj. They had to literally lift me and help me, which is not easy for people who are not used to handling us. So I mean, if this is we are talking about awareness, I think it needs to start right from here. And we're talking about people like World Trade Center, where we assume that they should know about it. I mean, if they don't know about it, then who else? I mean, it starts from right there. And as Vidya rightly said, that is the reason we are now struggling our contacts and associating with the planners themselves. And it's all there in the policy, it's all there in the law. But sadly, even in the planning, the policies which are being redrafted, amendments are being made, there is nothing that is happening at that level. And the other stage, once it is there, the implementation. How many really implement it? Although the architect may be aware of the laws and the guidelines which are laid down by the authorities like BMC, MMRDA, and the apex, the urban development. But how many builders or architects are going to implement it? Most of them get away with it. So the point here is, like, the people like us, the whole onus of getting it implemented lies with us. I mean, that's the most tough job to do, to take the yardstick and then be after them. It's not easy. But well, that's what we have to do, that's what our responsibility is. So I think that's
so basically what you're saying is a very clear-cut practical issue that you face in terms of washrooms. But then the whole mindset which needs to change right from administration onwards, and looks like sensitization.
Part identified, because I'm telling you they'll do it. Half the time we don't get things done because we don't ask, thinking they won't do it. Why? Yes, why can't you tell them we create disability-friendly toilets in some locations?
We are thinking of doing that with the planners, that there have to be, I'm not saying every Sulabh
planners on it.
BMC planners, because they are the one who will give permission for the Sulabh Shauchalaya.
Do you need permission for Sulabh Shauchalaya?
There are guidelines which guidelines have to...
For modifications, we will.
Not modifications.
No, modification, new ones. New ones, but you can also, there are many who can be modified. There is enough space. So we are saying that at a certain differentiating disabled-friendly facility within a certain square kilometer, it has to be there. We are not only saying Sulabh Shauchalaya. I'm really saying even a shopping complex, a cinema complex, must have these. They should be able to get in and use the facility.
The malls do have disability toilets, but they all are just for dumping all the stuff.
Yes.
All the buckets are there, all the dirty is kept there, and
So it's not really accessible. That's what we find.
Even in one place where the disability, the special needs toilet is kept very clean and very cramped for ladies.
I'd just like to quickly add
that Oberoi Mall has a good one.
So maybe it's in the malls where the government has the ability.
In Orbit City they don't have. They have the toilets, but that's...
But what happens with these malls is they don't have grants to go to the first level where you have to be. After a point you have lifts. But how do you get to the lift?
No, most of the malls now are the
malls may, but what he means is generally
we generally, and I'll tell you, if I may, because again, I'm very keen that we don't get out of this place without something that we have to do. Because again, I don't want this conference to be one conference, we get back home and we forget about this conference. I don't want that to happen. So I'm just wondering, because there is no N2 which Nino and all will agree to, along with number one is every disability has its own access needs. So it is very obvious we will only be able to get to one disability, which is doesn't mean that there is disrespect to other disability. We're talking about the community. As she rightfully said, as far as the hearing impaired community is concerned, the concerns are very, very different, and definitely not the concerns of physical accessibility that is there. So with permission, with everybody here who's dealing with various communities, I think, and Shushmita, because you are here specifically representing the visually impaired community, that we could, I think, boil down to take an access issue. For example, this Sulabh. This is a very important thing because I think a lot of people with disabilities, and since we only talk about disability, I'm not going into senior citizen and pregnant women and functionally or temporarily disabled people. As far as physically persons with physical impairment is concerned, it will allow them to get out of the houses.
Yeah.
At least not feeling that I need to be back by 1 o'clock because or I need to wear an adult diaper. So we could take this up. Just to see to it that can we by the end of the year, see to it that this city, if not the city, can यहाँ से यहाँ तक 2 सुलभ शौचालय या 3 हो पाएंगे. Is that something we can? I'm just throwing one idea. We can have many more ideas and then we can choose what we want to do. So I don't know how far you've already gone into that.
We are at least trying to make sure that our ward, which is the HS ward, there, say 3 Sulabh Shauchalayas are disabled friendly because there are many. But we are thinking of some very prominent ones which are accessible to them in the first place, because otherwise some of them are so bang on the road that nobody can get there. So we are trying to do that. In HOS ward, we are trying to make sure we are trying with the funds to modify some buildings, some public buildings.
So you're already doing that.
Yes.
Which is many. So now the idea is for you to quickly throw at what you think you would want to do, and then we can choose.
Talking about the toilets, the other initiative right away which we are doing is we are writing letter to Narendra Modi, Shri Narendra Modi, because I'm sure all of us have heard about the Clean India movement.
Yes.
Okay, under that, TCS is supporting some 10,000 toilets and Bharti Foundation, which will facilitate 10,000 girls' school toilets to be made. So what we are doing is we are going to contact TCS and Bharti and write to PM that none of the new toilets under the Clean India movement will be passed unless there is one disabled friendly toilet in every block.
Fair enough.
So we are talking about new toilets which are going to be built. Going back the retro, what we are saying, that is one issue as well. But the campaign is going to be launched on 2nd October. So TCS and Bharti have to know that whatever money they are going to put into getting these new toilets made, one toilet, whether rural, urban, female, male, irrespective, should have one disabled.
But who's making that mandatory? Who are you talking to? Who will put that down in the paper?
I mean, to begin with, we are at HOS ward level, we are sending a letter, and I have shot an email to all the NGOs at least who I interact with across India to send the same letter.
So aren't you involving the ministry?
We are writing a letter to the PM, the letter has been sent to the ministry, and we are going to interact with TCS as well and Bharti Foundation.
I would say,
you already started in the
In the letters you've started.
Yeah.
So while drafting the letters, you could take down the requirements for other disability also.
Everything will be different. We work on cross disability, not just physical.
So if you could share that with people
share
like
that.
us also, so in our community also, it could be.
We'll share the letter, and we are already liaising with Swayam in Delhi. They are responding. Design. He has sent us a design also, Swayam, which we have sent to PM, the toilet block.
Yeah. Dhruv has something to say.
I just want to know what's the process for getting disabled toilets through the BMC? Like you complain to the ward. Can you tell me the process?
It is the head offices that you have to work with, not on the ward office.
BMC or head office or ward?
BMC.
Okay,
Yes.
So you file a complaint there.
Complaint that you request. No, we know that just requesting is not enough, so we are going through the planners to make it mandatory now, and then through our we are approaching the political representatives also, that you push and get these things done in these areas.
Dhruv, actually, we were fortunate because of the efforts of Dinu and Sunita that we managed to get a hearing with the development plan guys for Mumbai. So they are revising it right now.
The DCR rules are amended right now.
The DC rules, the DP, the development plan, the plan that is being put together now is being pushed forward still, but they are putting it in that.
And the government has architects or designers.
We have their own. Yeah, the planners are very different from.
They are professionals whom they have hired, in fact, and in a way, and Dinu and Sunita have given a presentation and basically going across all the disability sectors.
Yeah.
And so the recommendations which are going to come in, and they're
talking about visually impaired also.
Everything. Signages, everything.
The floors have to be marked.
Tactile flooring.
And we met.
You need the contrast to be there.
And we met
the vibrators for.
So that's something I think if at all we do get that, it would be great to spread across the sector and say, okay, what are the your inputs?
Yeah, so that's all. If we make some kind of question that okay, this is what visually impaired needs this 5 pages.
Right.
Wheelchair user needs this 5 pages.
If you guys could share that from your sector, it will be very helpful.
Oh, sure.
Say 5 things what visually impaired need and 5 what hearing impaired. Then we just make a simple checklist of 10 things which is doable for the samne wala. He should not get intimidated looking at the big reams of paper.
You've given them the best practices. The best practices are really best practices. It's not always
doable.
You can't
and just along with when you are doing your proper channel, you are going. But I think one letter should go directly to the Prime Minister's office.
That's what she's doing. We are doing it.
And I must say, as far as advocacy is concerned, I didn't know about this.
Yeah, even I was.
So my point is,
That's what I'm saying.
I didn't know about this. So you have not been able to send across the message.
I've sent an email to you also.
Telling it on that.
Absolutely.
So then
all
send
the
it again.
NGOs.
And my point is, to Trinani.contact.
I posted that whole thing on your wall also. Yes, of course.
Alright, so now send it to all the other NGOs?
Yes.
Because that's
we have
very
already
important.
done that.
You have to have the community with you.
Yes.
And you cannot alienate other disabilities. Because that anyway is a problem in our sector. In our sector. Ganesh, I'm talking from experience of 20 because where we feel alienated. We keep quiet but we feel alienated. So my point is, even when you're saying this, out of all the deaf community gives and the visually impaired community gives, हमारा काम है कि हम उनको दे दें. For all you know, they will only do what they feel like doing.
Correct.
But they should know that from our end, we've given you we've represented all the disabilities. And then you can't do anything about what they finally choose to.
Yeah.
So I think the one thing you should do is send it across nationally. Because that's advocacy. You're doing it in Bombay, but let someone in Ludhiana know about it.
Chennai is already doing it, Lucknow is already doing it. I've sent out mails to everybody.
Oh, systematically.
Delhi is doing it already.
I think
Is it going from your account or is there a organization?
I put it on Facebook on walls. I put it on your wall. I put it on Swayam wall. Nina Foundation wall. Adapt wall.
Generally how we do in our community tribes, where we want things to happen, we do is we draft the letter with all the requisites that these are the 10-15 points, and all the NGOs who are working in that sector or not, they send a letter or an email to that particular email ID with their signature and so that makes a very big impact.
So what we have failed, we understand now that we have not communicated with across all borders that
No,
we have.
yeah, I have.
But obviously they've not really.
But tell us what to do. People I don't know. We will do it whenever this is my list. I have sent mails.
I guess I think one of the issues which comes, and I got Dhruv and I got Paresh and Rahul waiting to add the comments. Obviously, that seems to be the case. Yesterday we were at another roundtable. Obviously, there's no integrated kind of association or anything, and that's going to be an issue. So what we can do is, in everybody doing something some small ways, maybe one takeaway from this forum would be a kind of a larger platform where this kind of sharing takes place. I mean, of course, it's a very nascent thing, Radhika. It's not that we've gone so many steps down the line. This is all being initiated and stuff like that. So let's move on. Paresh, you have to share something.
You mentioned about express more.
Yeah.
What are the checklists which can be followed in different modes?
Yeah. So that model is being developed, and there's a some documentation along the way. But if I may have your permission, basically what we did was we started with Needham and the group, and they also communicated with others. And they said, the basic premise of this was that we are as so-called normal as anybody else. We have the same aspirations and the likes that anybody wants. We want to go to a movie, we want to go to a shopping mall, etc. And we want to have access to banks, etc., etc. Very, very normal stuff really everybody else does. So based on that, what was done was a kind of a short list of institutions in the area of Bhutan. We came up with around 25 to 30 names. And the architecture college, Kamaraja Vidyanidhi Institute of Architecture, with their help, actually designed a survey. We're still fine-tuning the whole thing. The idea is that out of these 25-30 names, we are taking the help of the local MLC and some politicians who are shooting on letters now to each one of them saying, the first step was give access to your institutions for the audit to take place. That's the first step. Not about making changes, only about getting an audit. And then when the audit is done, based on that, the architectural group will come up with recommendations. And what I'm proposing is do it in stages. Don't put the whole thing up, nobody's going to do anything. Start maybe with your ramps or whatever, and then upgrade. Maybe you could come up with a grading system. We have a marathon we do every year, which is, we pick up a different cause. And we've taken up the cause of this, Access for All. At the February one, we're having one in December. So we sort of felicitated those institutions in the area who already had something like ramps. And we don't know whether the ramps were done for physically challenged or whatever, or something else. We don't care. The idea is you've done something, we will absolutely felicitate you for that, and hopefully you will do something more. So this is the kind of broad outline we're using. And once the audit, we're hoping that at least 10 institutions out of these 25-30 would come on board for the audit. And then hopefully, the next part is where communication, cajoling, coaxing, threatening maybe getting these institutions to start making the next few changes. Of course.
Every 100 meters there's a bank.
We, I think, covered around 10 to 12 different sectors, right? I mean, right from cinema halls to malls to banks to the post office to ATMs.
ATMs is a big problem.
Some of the ATMs
is a big problem. We even covered beauty parlors, pubs and restaurants also. And police talkie. India's favorite police talkie also.
Sorry? Not really. I don't think beaches were covered in that. Right? No. But we had promenades.
We have promenades in our ward, so we covered the promenades.
Rahul, you were...
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, I also do have cerebral palsy, but looking at all disabilities, I would like to ask, can the government give one person at every train station, because 90% of these people travel by train, right? One person for all disabilities at every train station, or two people to help them up or help them down, or whatever, blind, deaf, physically impaired, or anything, at one person at every station.
Are you talking about the local, Bombay local train?
Why not India?
Because we want to be able to decide to do something which we definitely will be able to, like a model.
Yeah.
India का वायदा अगर हमने एक जगह success दिखा दिया, तो is it alright if we narrow it down to just the local economic to start with? Yeah.
But is there, I would like to know, are there some examples like this across?
There where you can call up a number and tell that I'm going to get down at this particular station and those people are there to guide you and help you.
So you have a precedent.
Yeah, it's already there.
This is not call a number and ask for help. They did not ask for that. Ask for help.
No, but they helpline
to it.
We don't really need to bother about Mumbai Metro, but I think it will be a interesting thing for the local. Because anyway, they do have a dedicated compartment, except that it's inaccessible. But they have a dedicated.
I went to Delhi, the international airport, and I said, okay, I needed to change, so I said, I'll go to the loop. I went there, and that had actually become a storeroom.
That's what I.
Yes, that's what everybody is saying.
Let's not blame because it's a catch-22 situation. When you have a place there and nobody They don't go because there's no loo and they don't want to keep it empty. So it's like a vicious cycle that's happening. But I think if people really start going in, they will have to vacate that place. So जब लोग आते हैं, that's when they start dumping things into that.
I would say 10-15 years ago, disabled people used to not move around, but now they're moving around.
Yes.
I don't think anybody realizes how much contribution the so-called disabled can make to this country. That's what everyone is missing, that people can contribute. They are working, they're painting,
The picture is not so bad. Let me tell you things that
And
are
actually,
very
the
really improved. We really improved. Perceptions are changing because that's all that I've been doing for 22 years. So it's not. I think we should go about saying things are happening, but more is to happen.
Yeah, it's
more is to instead because
my mindset also needs to be changed because I remember in Hypercity when they started, I started going to them and saying that you need to have at least one disabled lady to become independent. If I want to go and do shopping, then it becomes easier for me to just get down. I drive myself, so I just park the car. They did it after about 8 months, and in another 3 months' time, Diwali was there. So this is talking about 2 years back, and it's still there. One fine day, I go there and I see that portion has been given for gift wrapping. Yeah. Because they say that hardly anybody comes, so and we cannot do anything about it. So it's that kind of a thing. So it's again mindsets need to be changed.
So, irrespective of what each one of us is doing here, you have to focus on creating awareness. When I go to schools and I do extensive workshops in regular schools, they are shocked to see. I have a photograph. I have a small video of Geeta and another person, Prasad, who doesn't drive, but he gets onto through a lift to his car, and somebody, Ravi Subaiya from Navi Mumbai, who drives, and they're shocked because they don't expect them to be driving. So it's not their fault that they don't know that someone with a disability can do things. We haven't done anything to inform them. So I think it's very important that you get down to informing them that, hey, you might not be aware, but a person with disability is also a CEO, is also a peon, is also a sweeper, he's everywhere. So I think it really boils down to, and therefore I would do an earnest plea to Vidya and Naresh that through your, whatever you're doing, see to it that you have a huge advocacy creating awareness angle, irrespective of what really comes out of it. Just letting people know that you're doing it, they feel that that community is important. Isliye itna kaam ho raha hai. Yes. It's a very strange way of looking into awareness.
Like many people say that this disability is very less disabled, so that's why they are growing so much and this and that.
And I want to add that even for the people, this is for the advocacy and the people who are doing things. Even for the people who are disabled, this kind of information may be limited to some people here, but everybody should know that these kind of things are being done. And it is available for me. As in, I should go out, I should go everywhere.
True. So the awareness is not just creating awareness in non-disabled people. You have to create awareness within the disabled people.
What we had thought is that we will design more value and then hand it over to various wards, because like us, there's so many organizations who are working with civic issues all over the city, and they're all ready to work. So if we can give this model elsewhere, then they can also audit their wards and get things moving. That's what our aim is.
The thing which comes up actually is like, I think Anjali, you made a comment. We're talking about, for example, sanitation. We're talking about specially designed toilets for the differently able. And the issue is you have a problem with toilets for anybody out there.
Yeah.
I mean, where does anybody find public convenience? So, but now with this whole, I think what we need to do is to ride the wave, I guess. Right now they're talking about sanitation in such a big way. PCS, Bharti have come in with such a lot of money infusion. I think what Neenu is saying makes a lot of sense. So let's ride these waves. Maybe that's where you get. I remember being in Bangladesh in 1999, in a place called Mymensingh, and I was amazed because the landlines were disastrous. But I remember in Mymensingh they were having a rickshaw pullers election, and everybody had a cell phone at that time, and they were communicating the results of the election by cell phone. And I was zapped. What they'd done, they leapfrogged the whole thing. They were not waiting for the landline stuff. Of course, thanks to Grameen phone and all that. Maybe that's what we need to do out here, and I think this is like a great example where they're talking about sanitation, but we now focus on sanitation for the differently able and get that thing done. So I think that's what we keep trying open opportunities.
The government organizations, they themselves do not have proper access to the toilets.
Exactly.
RTO, I remember when 2 years back, RTO did not have their own IS officer does not have a proper toilet support.
That's right.
Is there any other doable from the other?
About jobs and
We've talked about access, is something we can work on. But it will be nice to get more reactions on which are the other issues that आप लोगों को लगता है कि उसमें काम किया जा सकता है. उसके बाद हमारे पास आधा घंटा है, तो 15 मिनट के बाद हम डिसाइड कर लेंगे कि नहीं 1 साल के अंदर या 2 साल के अंदर हम इस मुद्दे पर सिर्फ काम करेंगे. लेकिन एक मुद्दा निकला है पहुंच का, एक्सेस का. और अगर कोई मुद्दे हो पर्सनल,
making the disabled employable.
Okay.
Because unless and until they are themselves capable of getting employed, people will never hire.
Okay.
I'd just like to just say, can we?
I'm Mr. Shailesh Shah from Video Engineering. It is my own business. I just came here for an exhibition there. So somebody told me there's something interesting happening here. So I took an opportunity to meet you, every one of you. And I really, to tell you very frankly, I will know from you all what exactly this is. Okay. But I am very eager to participate in whatever form I could. Thank you.
Thank you. Very happy to have you. Thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
I think the one major issue is this psychological motivation, counseling across the board for all the disabilities. Whether it's a blind person, a spastic, any differently abled person needs lot of counseling for them to grow up. For the social change, for the behavioral change, for the skill development. We've come across, we've put quite a few of our hereditary children in various jobs. Sometimes they come to us that my employer shouted at me. We have to fully abled employee also gets shouted by his employer for not doing the work. Certain times the disabled people want a very cushioning atmosphere around them, which is not possible.
Everything is boiled down to disability.
So we have to guide them right from the beginning that there are certain areas where they can improve, they must improve. If they want salary structure according to the normal human being, they have to work accordingly. The mindset is always a sympathetic environment coming to them. That has to change.
I think you will have a lot of such experience.
Exactly. No handout culture. I'm sorry to say this, I'm very bluntly, but non-profits are quite responsible for this. Because the culture is such that if you make a mistake, it's okay. If you make a mistake again, it's okay. And companies don't tolerate that. As Ma'am very correctly said, market expectations of people with disabilities and skill levels are completely mismatched. You are not even 10th pass, but you want a job of 15,000 rupees a month. That's not going to happen. And unfortunately, no one is told them that. So that handout culture has to stop.
We have a catering institute where 10 or 14, 15 students pass out with a diploma certified. All 15 of them do not want to go to a normal restaurant. All of them are looking for Taj, ITC, Maratha. To really guide them that this is not going to work over a period of time. Start somewhere. So I feel counseling across the board for all disabilities is a must.
Counseling the family.
Counseling the family.
Family counseling is more important because counseling, what happens is you may go one-to-one counseling with the child for an hour or 2 hours, but if you counsel the family, the child or a differently abled person gets counseled lifelong. They don't need to come to you or they don't need to go to a counselor. It's that home counseling which is the more important. Wherein, in my case, my brother is handicapped. From day one, we've been on his case. Don't look at yourself as a handicapped child. And we've been able to bring him up to a level where today he doesn't consider himself handicapped. But that had to happen at home. We've integrated him in a normal school at a very young age. So that is another thing.
So quickly, just want to tell us the story. So people talk about the sensitization has to happen with human body or hearing people who I work with and so on. But I think, as you correctly said, there's been no sensitization with the disabled. We had this boy called Vinod, excellent guy. He was lives in Chembur, worked with us for 3 years. Fantastic boy. One fine day I get to know that he's leaving. So I asked him what happened. He said, "Meri mummy कह रही है काम छोड़ दो." Reason क्या है कि काला हो जाऊंगा. Because he's doing deliveries.
तो इसे मैं काला हो जाऊंगा तो मेरे से शादी कौन करे, मुझे ऑलरेडी गुनाह है. So you had to see me that day my blood was boiling. And now should I blame Hindustan Lever for should I blame deaf people or should I blame who do I blame?
And at times that's what my own experience is a blind female and sensitizing your own family is the most difficult task.
Yeah.
Because they will like for example that if someone has to walk in my room, I expect that it inform me and then come because that's my practice.
Yeah, correct.
But for them, इतना भी बताना पड़ेगा क्या बार-बार? So like sensitizing is a huge task. It's a huge ongoing task.
Just picking up on that, one question because we're talking about inclusion in livelihoods right now, and you actually created a company which very specifically employs differently abled people.